you're watching this video, then chances are very, very high that you've been heard of monk mode. AKA, you are just getting away from all of the pleasures, you're not socializing, you are quitting social media, you are quitting pretty much pleasures of any type, you are not eating junk food, you are not watching stuff that is highly triggering to yourself, for example pornography, you are not consuming social media, scrolling mindless on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, so on and so forth. And so I'm here, brothers, to talk about something which has been such a huge life changer for me regarding to NoFap and regarding to monk mode. And I needed to share this with you because I think that this actual principle holds a tremendous amount of value behind it. So about me, I'm just a guy out there from the internet experimenting with all the quote-unquote self-improvement stuff, NoFap, monk mode, meditation, reading, working out. It's pretty much trying to become the best and most connected self of myself, or with myself. So I've been doing monk mode for the last 1 year, and yeah, so I was doing very, very hard sessions, meaning that I had months when I didn't really communicate with anyone, despite of the people whom I had, calls in my business. I had times when I was straight on 1 meal a day, ketogenic diet, 0 sugars, close to 0 carbs, and yeah, like 0 social media, 0 YouTube. I had weeks when I had YouTube time of under 10 minutes, and those 10 minutes were because if I was uploading the videos. So yes, like complete silence. And so let me explain how the dynamics works with monk mode. So before monk mode, my mind was busy all the time. Like I was doing so freaking many things. So before that, I was in university. I was a uni student. I was kind of half-assing a dropshipping business or a consulting business. Hell knows what I was trying to figure out back then. I had a huge social life. I was also DJing. So the point is that I was doing at least like 5 things. And yeah, I was reading like a lot. So I was doing like 5-6 things. But I wasn't really doing anything at all. Like anything with complete integrity. Or I would say I was doing that. But back then reading was my biggest thing, learning. But the point is that I didn't really have something that I was doing, like all day long, and was my, like one thing, one purpose. And so what happened with me is that my focus, my things, my thoughts, my day-to-day decisions, bigger ones and smaller ones, pretty much declined. They just declined. Both the thoughts, both the amount of the thoughts that I do have, both the actual unmade decisions I do have, both the directions, and pretty much everything. So it's like, imagine this: when you're out in life and when you're just like quote unquote living life, especially in your 20s, and especially if you love partying and perhaps you're outgoing, then you like have like a huge boss. It's like if you'd be on a rock concert, okay? This is living life. Versus monk mode is like you're out there on the in the forest, and next to you there's a lake or like a river or something. It just like has like a constant noise of bzzz. And yes, some bird chatters and all the good stuff is coming, but nothing noisy, nothing noise, like everything is in harmony, if I can say it so. And so what I wanted to explain this to you is because our mind just simply starts to work differently if you are letting less information in, okay? So basically what I've got to realize, and I wouldn't necessarily want to theorize it, but more like opinionize it, is that when I'm on monk mode, or when we are on, so basically this is how our mind works, okay? We are just simply, so inside our head there are information, there are impulses that are hitting our brain, okay, hitting our minds. And so all those impulses have been processed and getting stored inside our subconscious mind, and so basically it's getting processed, and so therefore is influencing us on a day-to-day basis. So for example, if yesterday you've been watching 3 hours of videos about how cat therapy is the best, you know, how cat therapy is the best thing that you can do in your life, you've been watching 3 videos about that, then the next day, consciously or unconsciously, you will have this desire, you will have this leaning towards this attraction towards, hey man, I want a cat, I need a cat. And perhaps you know consciously that, hey man, like I was watching 3 hours of cat videos yesterday, like I want a cat, like this is why. Or if you've been watching 3 hours of Lamborghini videos, then man, like my favorite car is Lamborghini. So next day someone is asking for, what is your favorite car? Lamborghini. And a week later you might be watching a week of, you know, Porsche or something, and what is your favorite Porsche? And so this is how our mind is getting influenced. And there's also tendency, psychological tendency, but which is not being able, so basically, which is us not being able to cognitively make a difference between the actions that have been happened recently. Meaning that if something happened recently, we are leaning to think that that thing is more important. So that has a higher importance. But this is not that. So basically what is happening in monk mode is that our minds are just getting triggered by less information, okay? And so those types of information groups are basically getting less and less, or I would say more and more influential. So for example, if you are not watching, but just simply think about that. If you do not watch 0 movies for 0 movie handles, what is the correct form for this, for a year, okay? Then what will happen is that if after a year you will lean in and watch a movie, then basically that movie will be one of the greatest, one of the, you know, most enlightening movies that you've ever seen, one of the best movies, one of the best experiences that you've ever seen, right? And so this is what is happening when you are in monk mode. So it's like, it will be so much more intense, and every single thing. The same thing with food, you know. So if you are not always eating, but if you're especially eating 1 meal a day, this is what I've been practicing for so long, and yeah, now I'm getting back to many little meals again, because I just got to realize that's the thing that is me, that is better for me. Is that if you're not eating for a day, it's like you're just eating like freaking cabbages and cucumbers. Like, man, like this is the most tastiest thing that I've ever eaten. And so what is happening over here is that we're just simply having things, and those things and those thoughts and those ideas having way higher intensity and meaning, okay? So in this regard, the seemingly meaningless things, such as the bird is, you know, on the tree and singing now, is getting more vivid for us, because we are just not overloaded with all the information, with all the thoughts. And this is how monk mode works, and this is how meditation works too. But if you're in monk mode, it's like you're closer to a meditative state by basis. It's like your base level is way closer to a meditative state. And so what I wanted to talk to you about is that this is a very wonderful and beautiful thing, but the actual downside of monk mode is that you just got to realize that you are just simply getting to rot, because you just simply do not have certain types of impulses, meaning that you will just simply get left out from many things. And so that might be good up until a point, but after a while you just simply have to open up, because if you want to grow, then you just simply have to open up. So for example, if you want to figure out something, a process in your business, you don't necessarily have to figure out by yourself, but you just simply can watch a course about that. You know, it's like, hey man, you know, how to close. And so instead of you just simply figuring out, you know, all the steps and all the things, it's like, yes, of course, you have to figure it out. But if you have a little bit of guideline, then you can be like, man, yes, like I can just figure this whole thing out. And so the actual problem, what happened with me with monk mode, is that I just got to realize that, man, I just got into this rut. And now that I got into this rut, I just simply needed to switch up something. And so basically yesterday I just woke up after like 3 hours of sleeping, and like with a very freaking bad diet here and all this stuff, because before that I was eating at least like more than 500 grams of meat for dinner, and like I was overeating, and I was eating 1 meal a day and so on and so forth, and it was just like super unpleasant. And so after that I just got to realize that, man, I'm not good. And so I just simply went through that day with me just simply, working through the whole day, me just being, like super happy, super, enthusiastic, super energetic. And I just got to realize that, man, like you need less sleep, you need less food, you need less impulses, and life is beautiful, brother. And so this is just me by allowing myself to get out of this quote-unquote monk mode. So highs and lows, brothers, please comment me and let me know what you think about that, because I do believe that this is a super important topic, and this is one of the most valuable things that perhaps we can do, and at least for one season of our lives. And I do not advocate for this to make it as a lifestyle for long term, but for at least a little season of our life supposed to be monk mode, because this is how we can know ourselves, So yeah, love.